Thank you for joining us. We start with this developing story out of Rabie Ridge here in Gauteng, in the area of Johannesburg and Midrand. Things are heating up in Rabie Ridge as private security officials have fired rubber bullets at community members this morning. The community east of Midrand have been protesting overnight. Police have also joined in to try and quell those protests and bring the situation under control. And the community protesting overnight and burning tyres. Earlier, they tried to erect shacks on privately owned property and thus sparking the chaos. Let me take you live now to eNCA's senior journalist, Aviwe Mdila, who is tracking that situation. So a tense and volatile situation there, Aviwe, and at the heart of it all is the issue of land.
It is indeed, and it seems like it's sparking once more. There was a bit of action some 10 minutes ago. In fact, fury in the front line between the private security officials who were firing rubber bullets at the community members. It looks like now they're also moving around to look for the community members in this privately owned land. You understand that this is the bone of contention, the land that we're on. It's a stretch of about a kilometer in Rabie Ridge, which the community says has been left destitute for years, early as 1996, that it's been vacant land, and now they're saying they want to occupy the land and build shacks. We've seen the violent standoff between the private security officials, joined by the South African Police Service, who about some 10 minutes ago fired stun grenades to try and disperse the community here. The roads are littered with rocks, and in fact there are block bricks further down the road that have been built almost as if there was a bricklayer building them in the road, a solid wall on the road, which is blocking off traffic in Republic Road. The issue is, of course, around the land. And speaking to some of the community leaders now, they have actually gone back. There's a community center further down saying that they're going to regroup at the community center to try and forge a way forward. We've just seen some of the private security now running inside this land, looking for some of the community members. You see that South African Police Service, Police Nyala, moving further up to join another consort, a large police contingency further up, joined by the Johannesburg Metro Police, which has their large numbers as well. Further up in the land itself, there are two police nyalas they are private security nyalas with heavy private security officials on the land that's been in dispute. But for now, it looks like there's not much happening, but you can expect this chaos to continue for most of the day.
Aviwe, when you talk to the community leaders, what are they saying about why it is that they want to build on that particular land?
They'll tell you about the history of this land and what has been happening on this land. They say that there are dead bodies that have been found in this land. There are people that have been raped, children killed on this land, which has laid vacant. And in fact, every time that they try to access their land, there will be someone cropping up claiming that it's their land. In this instance, we spoke to Rabie Ridge, who is the CEO of the South African Housing and Infrastructure Fund, who told me that they have since acquired this land some 6 months ago. And in fact, they do agree with the community in saying that there should be RDP houses that should be built here. But it's a community that says that. We've heard that before. And in fact, Zali told me that they have taken lists of the community members, and the community says that those lists have been taken time and again, but still this land is laying destitute without anything being built on it. So they've taken it upon themselves to occupy the land, trying to build those structures which we do understand have since been taken down. And in fact, last night there was a lot of chaos, fury in the front line, standoffs between the private security officials and the community themselves, rubber bullets everywhere. And in the morning, it's a scene that we've seen time and again. Hardly any 15 minutes passes before that continues. And in fact, we saw the private security go off this property, the private land, and chasing some of the community members into what you see over there. The ladies waving there are from Kyalami Independent School, and we saw some private officials trying to access the school itself. Further down the road, coincidentally, Bratulas, there's also Ivory Park Primary, which we hear complaints from the community members there that there were some rubber bullets fired there. So there are, of course, concerns of the safety of the school children, while all of this is still ongoing.
So it seems to me, Aviwa, to be a matter that involves the concerns of the community about land that is not being used at the moment, intersecting with the needs of the community, saying that they need a place to call home and to build on. But I wonder how that intersects with policy, for instance, what the government has by way of policy of releasing land that is state-owned. But you say that land is privately owned and has now been acquired, and there's a suggestion that RDP houses may be constructed there, which raises then issues of the competition to be first in line to receive those RDP houses. Lastly, Aviwe, talk to me about the issue of policing. I see that there's involvement of private security using an armored vehicle there. We've seen that in your picture, but also using rubber bullets. We are always, our guard is always up when we deal with issues of public order policing, let alone policing by a private entity. So far, how would you sum up the policing of that particular protest from what you've observed?
So the more rather violent scenes that we've seen today are from the private security. I must say yesterday the police tried to make their way into the land themselves, the JMPD, about 3 police nyalas from them and a private security police nyala. There were no rubber bullets there. There was water cannons splashed at the community members, who in fact seemed to just be taking showers as that happened. There were stun grenades, there were the tear gas, which also we felt a brunt of it ourselves, but there were no rubber bullets there. And in fact, in another standoff that happened about an hour ago, where the private security were firing rubber bullets, South African Police Services, 2 officials, 2 members from there, went in front of the community members, stopping the private security officials from firing those rubber bullets. And when I tried to acquire, they did mention that they're not going to allow that to happen. But we haven't seen any firing of rubber bullets from the SAPS or the JMPD. It's rather the private security that has been tirelessly, again, firing those rubber bullets. And in fact, speaking to the landowner here, the property owner, telling me that today they will cordon off the land. They're not allowing anyone to enter this land from the community. They will not allow any shacks to be erected, and they will stand firm. We also spoke to one of the private security members themselves, who seemed not to understand whose land this was, mentioning that it was government's land. But they did say that they had strict instructions to fire anyone here, and especially if they retaliate. They said that they're not going to let them go. In fact, it will happen the whole day. If anyone tries to access the land, they will be there stopping them with those rubber bullets. So it's the force that we're seeing here is from the private security. All
right, thank you for that. eNCA's Aviwe Mdila live for us in Rabie Ridge. They're keeping a watchful eye over that particular community action as well as the policing thereof around the issue of land. Let me take you to Mkhondo in Mpumalanga, where 4 farm